Deliveroo has closed their Australian business for good. So this vid is in response to a comment from KP. Thank you for all your comments, KP. I know you get involved regularly, so I appreciate that. So KP has written, in our recent news, Deliveroo has ended all its services in Australia. In your next video, can you talk about how and why this has happened? What does it mean for the future of other services, and how can Deliveroo riders move forward from this? So three-part question. So let me just preface this by saying that I'm not a business analyst, I'm not an industry analyst, I'm not a commentator. I am just a sap with an app. My experience with these apps is about 4 years as a restaurant partner, 1 year as a delivery partner. So firstly, I just want to say it's a very sad thing for the staff at the Deliveroo office and the Deliveroo riders. When I first heard about this news, my thoughts were with them. The sudden closure, it would have been quite a gut-wrenching event for those people. To find out that your job is gone instantly, uncertain about whether you're going to be paid what was owed to you, and not having the ability to go out and earn income, it's very difficult for anybody to deal with. So what happened? There are a number of media angles that have been reported. Number one, not financially viable. However you want to describe it, Deliveroo simply wasn't profitable in Australia. The fact is, Australia is a tiny market, and Deliveroo had a tiny market share of that tiny market. Therefore, they were just not able to be competitive in an industry where you need volume to keep the whole process moving. You need orders, you need staff, riders, you need customers, you need all of that happening to keep the wheels turning on that business. So unfortunately, they just weren't profitable. Any business can't just keep pouring money in with no end in sight. If you're not making money, at some stage you have to close the doors. These type of business decisions happen all over Australia regularly because our marketplace is so small. Multinational companies are always making decisions to either stop products, stop services, or not even bring in products and services because our market is small and it's just not worth it for them. The fact is, they're running a business, not a charity. Number two, gig worker reforms. There are claims in some of these media articles that I've read that Deliveroo was only interested in exploiting workers, and as soon as there's talk about government worker reforms, they're out the door. I think that's probably not fair on Deliveroo. No one's out to just purely exploit workers, but any reforms that are going to cost the business more money to operate is just another nail in the coffin, isn't it? So if you know that reforms are coming and it's going to cost you more and you're already not profitable, what's the point in continuing? Number three is probably the downturn of delivery apps. During the previous lockdowns, the delivery apps saw a huge boom in use and revenue. Everyone was staying at home, having stuff delivered to them. Now all of these lockdowns and isolations have been relaxed. Everyone's going out and making up for lost time. As a result, these apps are seeing less revenue and less use. And for example, things like Uber's rideshare business has again increased, whereas that was reversed during the lockdowns. Number four is other revenue streams. What we are seeing is players like Uber, DoorDash, getting involved in other revenue streams where they can utilize their existing infrastructure, their existing workforce or subcontractor force, and doing package deliveries, doing supermarket deliveries, that type of thing. Maybe Deliveroo didn't have that ability. How can Deliveroo riders move forward from this? Simply getting on the other apps. So my understanding is that Menulog and DoorDash reached out to all those riders immediately after the Deliveroo announcement and were helping them to get on board their apps. So I would hope that at this stage, a couple of weeks later, those riders have now found their way onto the other apps and that they're finding some success in working for these other platforms. I was actually surprised to read that it seemed like there was some riders out there who were exclusive to Deliveroo and not using other apps. Personally, in Adelaide, I find that surprising because my experience is that Deliveroo was not busy enough. Possibly in other markets like Sydney and Melbourne, there is enough business for the bicycle couriers there to just maintain one app. But in my experience, I would have thought you'd need to be on other apps anyway. Given my experience with Deliveroo as a restaurant partner, my first thought is always Uber Eats would be the main app that I would be on, and then I might be on some other apps as a backup. What does this mean for the future of these services in Australia? I think there's no doubt that Uber is the major player. The Uber brand is synonymous with both rideshare and food delivery in the Australian community. The app and the UI, the branding, everything is very clean, attractive, simple. They've got the workforce, they've got the merchants, so it's no surprise that they are the big player. I think the big question is, what will these worker reforms look like? That needs to be managed quite carefully, I think. I understand the need to protect workers, but there is a reason why I chose this gig. I'm happy being a contractor. I specifically chose this role because it is a contractor. It needs an ABN, Australian Business Number. It's not a job. I'm happy to hustle. I'm happy to compete for work. I'm happy to compete for earnings. I love the flexibility. I love the autonomy. I have zero interest in working for a manager, in earning the minimum wage, in having a set start time and a set finish time and being told what to do. I would have gone and got a job if I wanted to do that. Anytime Uber has surveyed me on this, my answer is always the same. I love the flexibility, I love the autonomy, don't change anything. I want that freedom and I'm happy. So really the question is, how will these reforms change the way I do the role? What will the cost of the reforms be, and who's going to pick up that cost? Is it going to be the customers? Is it going to be the drivers? Is it going to be the companies? Unlikely it's going to be the companies, so they're going to pass those costs on somewhere. And I don't know what it means for the continued use of those apps either, so we'll have to wait and see on that one. So KP, I hope that my brief comments make sense and that helps you with your questions. As for this channel, I'm thinking it probably makes more sense to do these little questions and comments separately rather than trying to squeeze them into a ride-along video. So we might see some more of this format, if you like. Let me know your thoughts if you think this is a good idea or not. And if you have thoughts around, Deliveroo closure, worker reforms, or anything around the future of the apps, I'd be more than happy to hear them. So, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Please like and subscribe, do all that good stuff. Thank you for watching. If you want to see more content, click on this video here.